Hi YouTube, ACDodd here, and welcome to another episode of On The Road Tuning with me, ACDodd. And this time we're going to go back to CG Remaps for doing some rolling road tuning, and then we got a lovely little Morris Minor. So let's crack on. So here we are at CG Remaps, and we've got a very nice Mini 30, number one I'm told, so this is quite rare. Anyway. Test it as it is now. Lovely car. Then under the bonnet we have a very nice modified 998. So we've got twin HS2s, which are supplied and built by myself. It's got, I think it's a Keith Carver. No, it's not a Keith Carver head. Beg your pardon. It's got one of my clutches on it. It's got a modified cylinder head, and it's got one of my RS cams. So this should run rather well. We've got it baselined and we've got some work to do. So let's get stuck in and see what's holding it back. One of the things that people seem to miss out on when they do rolling roads is just drive the car and make sure the car fuels properly at part throttle settings. So considerable time here was spent doing just that. So with the car running on the rolling road and up to temperature, various speeds are tried from various throttle openings, low RPM, all the way up to high-speed cruise. This is the only way you can make sure that the engine will respond and drive smoothly at part throttles. Once the part throttle driving is sorted out, then we can then move on to progression and then full power runs. So here we are starting the full power run testing. So, first thing we found out that the engine was running the wrong coil, so we had a 3 ohm coil on there, we had a ballast system, and we was running a variable dwell power spark dizzy. Unfortunately, when we looked at the dizzy, it was only the low power one, low power module, so we couldn't run any more than a 1.5 ohm coil. And then secondly, on this particular distributor, it was only advancing 8 degrees, so hence it's new, but it's now out and it's been replaced. So the HT leads were also giving us about 18k between the coil and the spark plug, so I've changed those as well. So what does that look like under the bonnet? Well, we got a brand new ACDodd Power Spark 65D recurve distributor. We've also got a new hookup cable for mini spares. Power Spark 0.8 ohm coil. We've also fitted a ballast bypass wire, so we get rid of the ballast, so we've got full power to the coil, and obviously a nice new set of blue HT leads, which drops the resistance down to 3k. So what we're now going to do is, on the previous run we was a bit lean, so I'm just going to put in a different pair of needles to up the fueling, and then we'll get this run and see how it performs. Run on the twin carb 998. Okay, so we got this one all dialed in. As I say, we changed the ignition system for a recurve distributor, new set of spark plugs, all gapped at 35 thou. Then we turned our attention to the carburetors. Now these are a set of carbs that I supplied the customer with brand new, and then I went through and tweaked them so they, you know, they're all balanced dash pots and pistons and all the rest of it. And as it turns out, they were pretty close, although a little bit lean at part throttle and just a touch lean at full power. So some careful modifications brought those brought those in so that they're at part throttle. We're still lean, but we're thanks to the high power ignition system, we're actually being able to combust that mix. So the engine runs nice. This is going to be quite fuel efficient, and also when you put your foot down, it pushes them nicely into the 12.5, 12.7 area. So yeah, we've got a good strong air fuel ratio. So engine runs really well. Okay, so on this one we ended up with, or we started off with 44.5 horsepower and we ended up with 52 or nearly 53 horsepower at the top end. But if you look at the graph, again, the figures don't really show the real benefit. The real benefit here is a good around 15% increase right the way across the rev range. So this engine pulled very well. And one other thing to note is if you are fitting a sort of a Cooper style conversion to an older engine, you have to remember power figures are based on new engines, and in this case this was an older engine you bolt parts to, so you can't necessarily expect it to produce the same power as it would be when it was new. However, the owner did end up with a very strong running conversion and a much improved performance to the vehicle, so well done to him. Okay, so next car, we've got ourselves a Moke, or at least a Moke kit anyway. Moke Gemini, there we go. So in this one, there's a 1275 engine. It's got an ACDodd HS4 SU on it, and then we've got quite a poor ignition system. So let's dig in and see what we can find. Okay, so yeah, interesting one. It fought us a little bit, but only from the point of view of we found that the points were knackered. So I had to go deep down in my stores to go and find a set of points for a Ducelia distributor. I also found that the advance curve on this one was very, very long. So in the end, I had to find the best position for it in terms of timing, because after doing 15 or whatever it cars this weekend, I'd run out of spare distributors, so I had to make the best use of this one. Anyway, in terms of where we got to, it's got one of my carbs on, so just fitting an AAF needle, we needed no further modifications. It ran perfectly out the box, so yeah, really happy about that. Although the air filter didn't survive, so the cheap 25 quid air filter was restricted, so we took that off and we went from 11.5 to 12.5 AFR. So yeah, that won't be going back on, so we need a decent filter back there. But as you can see, the gap is quite tight on this, so I think the owner needs to do further investigations. But in terms of where we are today, we've certainly made the best use of this, and I think we've got 59 horsepower and about 67 foot-pounds of torque. So for an old 1275 that's a little bit smoky and a bit tired, she's not bad. Okay, as can be seen here, on the first runs, the power was quite down, and that was due to the fact this car, or this engine, had a misfire. So we debated about the best way to deal with that, but in the end, the only parts we had to make it work were a new set of points. So I put the new points in, set the dwell angle, then set the timing to optimise the output, and you can see there's a whole great big wedge of torque we picked up at the lower end and then all the way across the rev range. So this engine was actually in quite a poor state of tune when we first got to it, but after the dyno tune and the re-needling of the carburetor, it ran quite strong. Okay, that's it for CG Remaps. That's all the footage I managed to take. I was quite busy when I was there, so unfortunately I didn't get a chance to take any more. But without further ado, let's go back on the road to another static tune. This time it's a Morris Minor. So here we are down in Fareham, and we've got a Morris Minor, and this one is another lovely example. Awesome. This one's got a few extra gauges in it, which is always nice to see. Let's go under the bonnet, and we got a nice fat 1275. So let's go and have a chat with the owner and see why he's called us down. Okay, so this is Nick. He's the owner of this gorgeous Morris 1000. So why have you called us down today?
It's not running very well. It's hesitating going up hills, and I've done what I can with it. I acquired all the bits and pieces on the car. I've tried to tune what I've got, and then realised I just need professional help. That's why I've got Adrian down here to do work his wonders.
Okay, well, without further ado then, let's get stuck in and see what we can find.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so looking under the bonnet, one of the first things you'll notice is the coil. Look at that. And the owner has even put the resistance on it of the primary and the secondary. So 2.7 ohms and 8.85 k ohms secondary. So in this case, we're running points. So we're not going to be changing that today because we'd have to put a 1.4 or 1.5 ohm coil on it, and then we'd have to wire in a ballast resistor, but we're not going to do that. So what I'm doing here now is just change my attention to the spark plugs. You can see they're out, so let's go and have a look at those. So spark plug wise, we're not looking too bad actually. Now you might see that the two on the right are cylinders 1 and 2, the two on the left are cylinders 3 and 4. You'll see that 3 and 4 are running considerably differently to 1 and 2. Now the reason for that was a breather. So when I arrived to the vehicle, this pipe here, which goes into the carburetor, was plumbed into here, and then this pipe here from the crankcase was plumbed into there. Okay, and the problem with that was it was then open to the air, so there was an air leak into the carburetor. So we've since changed that, but incidentally, because that's on the left hand side, that generally speaking is why the plugs 3 and 4 will be slightly leaner than 1 and 2. Coming back to the spark plugs, we can see BP6E. So these are spark plugs that I would recommend to fit in this engine, which is excellent. The owner's even gapped them all. So this is a different class of owner. This is a guy that looks after his car properly, makes sure he's all got the right parts in it, and gaps everything as it's supposed to be. So in theory, I should have less work to do, but we'll see. So looking at the dwell meter, we find we've only got 38 degrees of dwell. So let's dig in there and see if we can increase that coil charge time. And while we're checking the ignition, obviously I'm having a quick look at the resistance of a HT lead, and I'll check the shortest one and it was over 4k, and I've checked the longest one and we're over 8k. So we're going to change those for a set of decent lower resistance power spark ones. So what have we done so far? As you notice, the engine's back running again. But what we've done is we've put a new set of leads on it because we were finding, as I mentioned earlier, the resistance was a bit high. It's got the same coil on it, so we haven't changed that. Spark plugs are all the same. Distributor has actually been out, and I've moved the distributor drive shaft around because all the leads are around the wrong way, and also the timing appeared to be quite a way out once I've adjusted the dwell angle. So we've got that corrected now. The advance curve in this one is still very long, but as I said to the owner, if he doesn't really go above 4,000 revs with his foot flat on the floor, then it doesn't really matter. And he said he never goes anywhere near that. So this is an engine that doesn't get crashed. So in that case, if he doesn't do that, then the rest of the curve is actually fine. So I've set it at this one, I'm getting about 38 degrees full in and 7 degrees static. So as you can tell, the advance curve's actually too long, but the advance over 30 degrees is happening way up in the rev range. So if he doesn't drive there, it's going to be fine. In order to change that today, that would add an extra 185 quid to the bill. So, you know, if you don't have a drive there, then, you know, it's a lot of money that you can save. Moving forward, we're now just going to look at the carburetor and see how that's fueling. Okay, so we're on to needling this Morris Minor, and we've had an ADG needle in it, which is way too lean. So taken it out, got an AAU, and I've extensively modified this one. Typically we are very lean at 4,000 to 5,000 RPM, and obviously at the top end. So I'm just adjusting away, and then hopefully this will make this one fly. Okay, so we got there in the end, although in this one we've got an interesting problem. So no matter what I do, we're still lean at 4,000 RPM. Sometimes you get those, and the way you have to fix it is change the carb. But in this case, I'm going to let the owner drive the car and see what they actually think, and let them make the decision. Because at the end of the day, a Morris Minor isn't the sort of car that you're going to thrash around the place. So if that problem is not where the owner drives, then there's no reason to change it, because everywhere else it's running beautifully. Okay, so you've been out in your car, what's it like?
Absolutely fantastic. It picks up immediately, no judder from the engine, absolutely flies along now. Stick it in third gear and you can just pull out and go. And yes, absolutely marvellous.
So all those ailments that you had are now gone, yeah?
Gone.
Wonderful.
Absolutely perfect.
Would you recommend this to other Morris Minor owners?
Oh yes, well Tuesday I should be going to the Morris Minor Club, Hammock, and I shall be talking to them, so yeah, we'll be in touch.
Okay, well thank you very much. I
Thank you,
appreciate you
Adrian.
calling me down and giving me a chance to work on your fine car.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed.
Okay, hope you enjoyed that. I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank CG Remaps, Chris. So thank you very much for having me there, and also thanks very much for helping me with my own car on the first day that we were there. So much appreciated, because it's running much better. Anyway, as ever, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.